It's time,
Dude.
Adam Crigler.
Hey,
You
Ian
made it.
Crossland.
Hey, baby.
So good to see you, man.
You too,
I
man.
miss you. I miss you, dude. You're
Mm,
awesome.
I know we have got good chemistry, dude. The Forge is hot as fuck. If people don't know what that is, it's a song you wrote. Have
Yeah,
you
that's right.
done like a pro recording of it yet?
Man, my chat has been asking me to do a recording of that song, and I have yet to do it. And I really I need it. I need to do it. I know it's all on me. I'm holding myself back. I don't know what I'm
It
waiting for.
it goes so hard. Like
It
it
really
picks up and
does.
then it just really like it's like you're in Iron Forge. Like you are a
You feel it.
dwarf. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a
You're
World of
just you're
Warcraft
just
reference.
hammering the metal, and then
Yeah.
in like a blink of an eye, you are the metal being
Yes.
hammered, and it's like,
Yeah. Sparks are
what's
flying.
happening?
You are
Yeah,
the
it's just
sparks.
pieces of you, but it's
Yeah.
like, is it the shit you were trying to shed from yourself? I
Most
hope so.
likely.
I
Yeah.
hope so.
And then the
Right?
magma's so hot.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Dude,
If
did you
you're
see
lucky.
this on Mars? All these what looks like ancient riverways on Mars?
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah. With
what
with
in
chevrons, I with
let
the
me
the waves, the ripples in the
Yeah,
sand.
I pulled this up a couple episodes ago, but I'm gonna pull it up again for people that are listening or watching now. Let me see if I can grab this. I'm on the road, so my text
Is it
my
is it
technicals
warm?
are
Is it warm where you're at?
it's real warm. It's real nice.
Tell me more
It's
about it.
I'm
I
in
I
Miami.
I I want warm. It's
Yeah,
so
where
cold here, dude.
it's 20 degrees, literally 20 degrees.
Let me check. Well, it's -6 Celsius. I don't know what that translates to. Hold on. -6 Celsius in Fahrenheit. Let's see.
Here we go.
Okay, so it's 42. Oh no, that's
Oh,
six.
that's not too bad.
What's -6? 21. It's 21 degrees.
Look at this nasty shit. This is Mars. 21. Jeez. Ow. You just wear coats all day.
Yeah. And
That's
then a sweater, and then another layer, and then another layer. And
Is it normal
yeah,
to get that cold in Sweden?
I think so. This is my second winter living here, and last winter it didn't get this cold. So I don't know. It's colder
Do you
this
be-
year.
do you go back and forth? US Sweden?
Currently, no. No,
Okay.
I'm
How
just hanging out. This is the
how's it
first
feel
time
to
my
be
river froze.
Oh, can you go on
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, I was just on it today. I can show you. You want to see? Hold on.
Yeah.
I've got I took a couple drone shots.
Dude, a river
Um
cam would be pretty sweet.
just like
You could
24
yeah, like
hour.
out the window that you could pull up on
What's the river
OBS.
doing today?
Yeah. Is it alive? Does the water have DNA memory in it? Well, it doesn't have DNA, but does it have memory?
That's a that's a really interesting question, cuz don't they say like every drop of water has been through every different cycle throughout the millions and millions of years, or something like that? I don't remember.
I don't know, but it sometimes when I'm in the shower, I have really good thoughts, and I wonder if I'm like getting the information from all those that have experienced the water before me.
Mm.
Dude, speaking of water, look at this shit. I'm sharing it right now. It's on Mars. I was like, what in the fuck? This is like, I mean, this is fluid, whatever it is, whether it's magma or giant flooding. This is just a piece of the
I
picture
mean,
from
that's just remnants though, right? That's not
yeah.
like flowing now.
No, yeah, right. It's a topographical map. So the browner it is, the
Okay.
higher the elevation, and the blue is lower. I imagine this was all ocean at one point, and then it just flooded inland, smash. And then what I think happened on Mars is that it got hit by something. It got ripped open, and then all this magma came flying out into the atmosphere, melted all the ice caps, causes global catastrophic flooding, and then it stayed hot because the magma was kept coming out because it had been, as opposed to on the Earth where we got hit by comets on
Yeah.
the North American glacial continent, and then there was a flood and it was done or done-ish. Mars got tore open at that gigantic trench, and it just after
Yeah.
all the flooding, it just evaporated all the water. That's my guess.
Do you think life started on Mars before Earth?
No,
No,
not if
you
I
don't
had to
think so.
answer right away. I don't think so.
Like
What about you?
millions of years ago. I mean, I don't know. I've been delving into this ancient stuff so much lately that I'm questioning all of history. That even human history, even the past couple thousand years. I mean, you talk to Andreas, you give him 5 minutes about the past couple thousand years, and he'll convince you that the past 2,000 years was a lie. Okay, so this is actually standing on my backyard, right? So that's actually my hot tub on the right.
Oh, wow.
It's a wood-fired hot tub, actually.
Dude, I gotta get out there, man.
Yeah, hey, dude, that'd be awesome. You should. All right, so this is just a little glimpse. So this is the first time I've seen the river freeze like that. That's frozen, where you see all that white.
Oh,
That's just like I ran on the left side where it kind of goes into the forest there. I stood on that and started sliding around.
does it get,
So
is
this
it
is
more shallow? Is that where it freezes? It's more shallow, and where it's deeper, it stays wet?
I mean, it's pretty deep through the center of this. I feel like, see in the can you see my mouse? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So you see like this, let me pause it for a second. You see like right here, you could see
Yeah.
where the water is flowing really strong. This is where the current, it kind of rides along
Oh, okay.
this and then comes in, and this widens out. And then once you get like closer to where it starts melting, this is where it's hitting my property and making this bend. So it's a lot more turbulent where this spot is.
Yep.
But
The
yeah.
acceleration. Speaking of time, time is motion. Like, what happened over the last 2,000 years? Well, how fast were things moving? Like, how much friction was there?
Ooh,
Because friction, yeah,
right.
like
The
heat
faster
and
it moves,
friction.
the fast or the slower time goes. Isn't that how it works?
Um,
Or it's a perspective,
Other
right?
way
Because
around.
is it the other way
Well,
around?
it could be
Because if you're
both. I'm
going,
not
the
sure.
faster to the speed of light you go, the slower time is relative to the people who aren't going fast, right? So if
Right.
I travel near the speed of light for 10 years, you would have aged 10,000 years if you're staying on Earth,
Yes. Yeah.
right? So
But
the
if you go really fast and produce a lot of heat and cause friction, it
mhm.
might give the illusion of time passing quickly. So maybe it's like a resonating frequency that goes faster and faster and faster. It looks like hotter and hotter and hotter, faster, 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 to a point where it starts to look like a wheel. When it spins so fast, it starts to look like it's spinning slowly backwards. You
Right.
ever see that?
Optical illusion.
Like,
Right,
time's
right.
not real. Yeah.
Well,
Okay. So
time's
oh
an
yeah, go.
interesting thing. You know what? Hey, Nish, can you do me a favor? Can you go grab that piece of paper on the windowsill in the bedroom? The Okay. I wrote this. I wrote I don't know when I wrote this. I think I was 15. Okay? And I found this piece of paper, and I guess I was having some like, I don't know, just I think I was stoned. I was stoned out of my I started smoking when I was 15. And I wrote this paper on time. It wasn't for school. Okay? It was just me thinking about time and what time was. And I found it the other day and I was reading it and I'm like, this is awesome. And it was like this like young version of myself trying to understand what time was and if it actually exists, or is it a perspective. I want to read it to you because I feel
Yeah,
like
please.
you would actually really like it. Nisha's grabbing it for me.
From the
Um
brain of the untainted child. I love it.
yeah, that's really what it was. And I read this. Oh, thank you. All right, so this is just like one of those old, three. When is the
Fuck
last time you
yes.
used one of these?
No, it's been too long, like 23 years or something.
Right? Okay. Time is and always will be irrelevant to anything. What was the measure of intervals before humans thought up time and the scale of time? Who said that 1 second is exactly one tiny, insignificant interval of time? Why do we need time? Eventually, humans will die out somehow. Is time going to be needed then? Who will be around to count time? Will time exist? Does time even exist right now? Do all the animals base their day on time? No, they don't use time. They simply get up when they awake, and do whatever is needed. So why do humans rely on time so much? What would the world be like if no one invented time? Now, immediately, any one person would say that the world would be corrupt and crazy. Also, that it would be completely unorganized. I don't think this would happen. I don't believe that the world would be organized, but I do not believe that the world would be corrupt. So the question is, do humans need time? The point I am getting to is the fact that humans cannot live without time. No one would ever be on time. Sorry. How can one be on time? How can you get to the top of time? Oh my gosh. In theory, no one could ever stop time. Time is ever flowing and never stopping. If one person made everything and anything stop and hang motionless in the universe, humans would believe that time has stopped. But in reality, time has just continued on in the overall human's perception of time would make it seem as though time has stopped. But what records time for humans? Clocks, watches, sundials. So then everything stopped, all the watches and clocks would stop, and the sun would be in the same place when that one being let everything move again. Therefore, humans would not even realize that everything had stopped. Someone could even have the ability to stop everything. We would never know, though. Traveling through time is incorrect. It should be called traveling across a plane of events. And that was a 15-year-old me.
I agree with that. Like when you go so fast, you can other people. It'll look like you're not moving to other people, but to you, you're doing a bunch of stuff. But because it's happening so fast, it would be imperceivable, and they would say you're
Right.
not moving at all.
Right, exactly. I just time. I mean, are we living in a universe that's 13 billion years old? You know,
I I
do you
I
believe
don't
in the Big Bang,
know.
Ian? Do you
Well, what
believe
I've
in the
come to
Big Bang?
think, I think we're in a toroidal universe. That it
Explain that.
goes that we're like. Are you familiar with the torus?
I think you and
L-
I have talked about this before, and I can envision it. I see it in my
yeah.
head. I
Here, I'll
know what
bring
you're
this.
talking about.
It's like this. Share. I'll share the torus. This is pretty cool. This is a torus right here on the right.
Yeah.
It's just a
Hmm.
donut looking thing. And then there's the double torus. Let me see. Double torus. So I think maybe what's happening is, oh, that's a wild image. Let me pull this up here. Jamie, pull this up. Just kidding. Shout out to Jamie Vernon for pioneering the wonder of reality here. This I'm not looking at this thing on the right here necessarily, but let me see if I can grab some
It's
cool looks. What the
yeah,
fuck?
yeah, the one that kind of looked like an hourglass, but I think
Yeah,
that's
one of these days my tech's going to be back to normal. So thanks for bearing with me. That day will be after Thursday, where I'll have much
yeah, yeah.
quicker. So what I'm thinking is like the universe is like this, like the Big Bang is here in the center of the donut. It's at the
Okay.
what they call the singularity, and we're wrapping around this round donut, coming up, back down through a big crunch, then coming up and around. We go through the big crunch and then explode out of another bang, and then wrap around and then come back into another crunch, bang again out around, and it's just constantly flowing around this torus. And the reason why we look like we're getting, I think it's a red shift in the light, it looks like things are getting farther away faster when we look out at the universe, is because the wavelength is actually bending. So like if you look at a wavelength like this, like a wavelength, and then that wavelength turns, it's going to look like the wavelength's getting shorter, and vice
Right.
versa. If you're looking at a wavelength like that and it turns to the side, so like if you look at a wavelength from a different angle, it's going to look, or at a wave propagation, it's going to look like a different wavelength. And so as it's bending around the torus, it looks like it's getting shorter or longer depending on how you're looking at it. So we're getting this optical illusion of a
Interesting.
blue and red shift.
So
It
the
makes
whole the universe is moving further apart could actually just be a perspective error in
yeah,
our
exactly.
perception,
Yeah,
right?
I think
When in
it makes
reality, it could be we could be just shifting what we're seeing and nothing's actually moving, or we're all moving together along the torus here.
Yeah, I think it makes more sense to
Interesting. Okay.
consider that it's infinite. It makes more sense to think that it's always been here, that rather than that there was a beginning. It just seems like a flawed human construct to think that it started and that it will end. It doesn't make any sense.
So it's more like being reborn over and over again every however billions of years it takes.
Yeah, and then you get like quantum entanglement. I mean, that doesn't really defy quantum entanglement, where everything came from an inception point, from like a big crunch bang. I think that still kind of follows with it.
Well, quantum entanglement, I mean, that is something that is very fascinating to me because nothing can move faster than the speed of light, and yet, you can have two things quantumly entangled anywhere, and they will instantly trigger each other, and I don't understand it, and I have yet to have anyone explain it to me where they understand it, and
You
it's
know,
amazing.
I think it's like if reality was a web, like a spider web. That's only a two-dimensional look at it, but if it was like a three-dimensional web, and you're in the web. Everybody's in
Yeah.
the web. If you pull on the web, you can tug and vibrate the entire web. So in that
But
sense, we're
that's
kind of
but
like,
instantaneously though. It's still like if you pull a rope, it's still that tension has to move along the rope, right? To then get the whole rope moving. Whereas like if it could be in Andromeda and we can have two things quantumly entangled, right? And boom, both sides trigger at the same time. It doesn't matter where they are. And it's like
maybe
how
it's
that's crazy to me.
yeah, maybe it's that what we think what we are is
Mhm.
not just us. Like what I think I am is more than Ian Crossland body. I'm actually the universe. And so when I pull on Ian Crossland body, I'm pulling on the whole universe, but I'm witnessing I'm like the localization of this body because I've got these
Hmm.
sensors.
You know what I think it is? We talk a lot about dimensions on Forbidden Frontier, and there's this thing about someone who exists in 2D. They can't perceive what like a three-dimensional figure is, right? Like say an apple is sitting on top of a piece of paper and there's an entity that lives in 2D and it sees the apple. They don't see the shape of the apple. They just see a circle, the outer ring of an apple. And like that's it in 2D from that dimension. So if we take a step up, from our dimension to whatever how because technically it could be infinite dimensions, right? But if we exist on a higher plane, and I'm trying to figure out what quantum entanglement is, and the thing that makes sense to me is it's a higher dimension. It's well, like how you said, it's like if shaking Ian Crossland and like all the Ian Crosslands. Well, what if everything is connected, and quantum entanglement, us dabbling it, and it is us we are that two-dimensional um I don't know, humanoid, whatever, seeing the apple and knowing that it's an apple and that it isn't just this circle. Like we're like, "Oh, maybe it's an apple. Maybe it's an apple." And like obviously I'm dumbing it down, but like we exist in this dimension. Maybe quantum entanglement is us. It's like discovering fire for the first time, or creating the wheel. It's like us slowly understanding that there is another dimension that we can actually tap into, and that's what quantum entanglement is. I don't know.
There's
Kind of free thinking
Yeah,
right here.
when I think about the next dimension beyond the third dimension, I think of
Yeah.
it as like in and out of reality. So like it's going in, through, and out, through, and like it kind of jives with
What is
NASA.
reality? What is reality though?
Yeah, that's
What
a
are you
great
referring to?
question.
Yeah.
The vacuum of space time.
Okay. So
The
like
and
our existence as we know it.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, the best perception we could observe of this dimension of space.
Yeah.
But that like Nassim Harriman's been working on this paper called the Schwarzschild proton, and he's mathematically enciphered that like every proton is two protons. actually 2 protons revolving around each other at the speed of light, going into the vacuum. As one goes into the vacuum, another one comes out of the vacuum, but it's happening so fast it just looks like one proton is there. But it's feeding information locally. It takes all the local information, goes into the vacuum, and says, here's what's happening in this area. And the entire reality, all of the universe, is doing a mass calculation at light speed and then giving you a local response. And it's very rare that something from far away will affect your locality, but it does, because it's all one universal structure.
How does he
I'm tailing him
measure
right now. I
that?
want to get, I don't know. How did he measure the Schwarzschild shell proton? I want to get him on my show to find out. I read the paper. It's very complex. Yeah.
Sure,
What's the show?
Sounds like it.
What's the show? You mentioned it before on Sunday night that you guys do.
Forbidden Frontier. Yeah, it's we delve into ancient civilizations, Skinwalker Ranch, other dimensions, ghosts,
What's
all sorts of
Skinwalker?
stuff. Oh man, Skinwalker Ranch is a place in Utah, and it's famous for just man, all sorts of stuff. UFO sightings. A skinwalker is a Native American term for, I don't want to say a demon, but like an entity of, I don't know, like haunting slash, I don't know how to even describe it. It's like a shapeshifter. It comes in the form of different animals and men, and it disappears. There's so many different stories, and there's this place called Skinwalker Ranch that is kind of like the hotspot, and the government has done investigations, and there's a TV show, of multiple shows actually that have been done, and there's one currently that we've talked about many times that we review whenever there's a new episode. It's a fascinating place, and there's this mesa, and they think there's some, I don't know, like dome shaped something underneath the ground. It's really cool, and yeah, it's a fascinating place. So
Whenever I think of ghosts, like, it sounds like you're kind of explaining like possession or something, like a spirit that can possess animal or human, but maybe it's more than just. But
oh yeah, it's
I'm
definitely more than that. It's
I'm
an
drawn to
entity
this.
unto itself.
There's this this thing, Ben Stewart, who, if you guys haven't had him on yet, he'd be a great guest to talk about this.
Phantom effect. Okay.
So this is from Vladimir Poponin, after discovery of Dr. Peter Garayev. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And I've read about this. Ben Stewart explained it to me, and essentially what I came out with is that it's they take a DNA in a vacuum, and they'll bombard it with photons, and the photons will start to revolve around the DNA. They'll start to adhere to the DNA and kind of be there with the DNA. And then when you remove the DNA from the vacuum, the photons stay there as if the DNA is still present for like 2 weeks or for some extended amount of time. And I'm wondering if, that there's information that people talk about souls of like past humans that have, their bodies have died, but their souls are still present. And then, I haven't been able to confirm this study, but when Ben Stewart comes in with data,
coming from? So like, do they take like a bit of your blood to get your DNA, or is it like the scientist's DNA? So it's like, what I'm asking is it a living thing that they're getting the DNA from?
It's a very good question. I should probably read the paper before I bring it up.
You're making a connection to like a soul of some sort of essence that is connected to the DNA. Because like my DNA in my body, is my soul connected to the DNA, or is it something else? Is my soul driving this meat puppet that I'm inhibiting, right? Or, there's a lot of layers to this discussion, right? We could go in a lot of different directions here.
Is the soul driving it, or is it just sitting shotgun and following along?
Is it one with it all, right?
Probably.
And if it is one with it all, then the DNA that is the makeup of my body, then maybe there is some essence of the soul that you can. I don't even know how.
I'm going to put a link to this paper that I'm reading in the chat on YouTube in case anyone wants to pop it off and get a good look at it, and maybe they can add more to the the conversation. Whenever Ben Stewart comes in with data, it's pretty fascinating stuff. That guy's amazing. In fact, I'm going to have him on this show pretty soon. I wanted to answer your question from at the beginning of the show where you asked if I thought
Sure.
that life was on Mars before on Earth. And the
Right.
reason I said no is because of the moon. When I look at the Earth's moon, I'm like, whoa, this thing is like so intertwined with life as we know it, with animal and maybe even plant life. And I think what happened was, however many billion years ago, I don't know, it was 3.6 billion years ago when they say the solar system formed, whatever the hell billion years means. I don't know. But the sun, either there's like, I can't figure out what happened that caused it. And science hasn't really been able to give an exact explanation. Either there was a binary star collision and then an expulsion of matter all around it into this, like, they cooled down and formed into planets, and there were like 26 of them all ramming into each other and exploding into asteroids, and some of apparently, or that the sun itself just overcharged, and there was something called a Z pinch where there's like this arc of plasma or something because it like can't contain itself anymore, and then that arc just went and zidded out all this matter, cooled down into matter. But either way, there was all these collisive celestial bodies like smashing, and planet Theia, hypothetically or theoretically, smashed into Earth. They were in the same orbital pattern, and it came from behind and hit Earth and then came out the other side is this floating ball of magma left over from the collision, and then it slowly cooled down into what we know as Earth's moon. And it's like got all this metal in it. It's kind of made of the same stuff of the Earth's core is made of, I've heard. And because of that, either that was like either a mathematical equation that plays out when this pattern of solar propagation, goes off, it's bound to happen, or it was all coincidence. I don't know, but whatever, it happened. This moon is pulling on the tides
a lot.
Interesting.
It created a 24-hour day because Earth was spinning a lot faster, and I don't know if life could have, life as we know it anyway, I guess I should say, right? But it was spinning. I don't remember exactly what it was spinning, but it slowed it down immensely to the 24-hour day that we now know. Relatively.
That's my only reason why I think life started on Earth first, and it actually makes me think maybe in the entire universe we are the only planet with life on it. It's not really that far. Well, not life,
I don't know.
because
I think there's
DNA,
life in our solar system, man.
Yeah, if there's water on Mars, if there's ice on Mars, there's life. They found bacteria on Mars, I'm pretty sure.
Well, I think it's more like I think it's Enceladus. It's one of the moons. It's got an ice sheet, and it shoots out geysers into space. And they're thinking that there's underwater like thermal vents from its molten core. And if you look at it,
I'm pulling it up now.
Are you looking?
Yeah, Enceladus has ice on it.
Yeah, and you look at our oceans and go down to the thermal vents. There's teams of life just thriving off of the energy. There's no sun. They're living off the power that these thermal vents are producing. And if this has them, I think that there's life down there.
Yeah. And at the bottom of the ocean, I think it's sulfur based. Like a lot of our life is carbon based on the surface, plants and animals, but it's sulfur based
life as we know it.
Yeah. Yeah. What is life even? I'm constantly wondering what's the difference between sentience, consciousness, and life. Life is obviously, well, maybe not so obviously, kind of unique in that it's like living. It's more than just consciousness. There's living things, which is like, I don't know how you would define it. Maybe scientists have already done that, but that definition can change, I suppose.
Life. Yeah, I think once you go from like a base building block, the elemental table, I don't think any one thing on that is alive. But then once you become a complex combination where you have a goal, whether it be to eat, you know what I mean? There's bacteria is alive, right? Because it wants to eat. It needs to fuel itself. I think that's a good.
Really, that it needs fuel of some sort. Whereas sentient, like clouds of plasma that may have sentience, like the way plasma moves it looks like it's not just a cloud floating through the wind. It's like bolting and maneuvering, and you're like, what the hell? Why is it doing that weird pattern? Like,
Well,
there's
plasma, that's another conversation. Have you heard of the new plasmoids? The new oh man, you're gonna love this. Randall Carlson has been working with someone. I forget the guy's name, but he
Yeah,
just
I
did a
know this.
podcast, and he's talking about this new technology with plasmoids, and it creates little vacuums, and it takes the CO2 in any engine and reduces it to zero.
Yeah, this is they call it
Incredible.
the
It's
thunder storm
yes,
generator. I
yeah,
think
or no, you're close.
thunderbolt
Lightning.
generator.
Is it a lightning?
No, there's
Lightning bolt?
thunder. I know the
Is it
word
thunder?
thunder's in it.
You know what exactly what I'm talking about. That you're right
Yeah,
though.
I
Whatever
watched
that is.
this. Here,
Yes.
I'll pull up a link to
Yeah. Let me
this.
see.
Ooh, cool. Oh, didn't mean
I
to stop
watched
that.
there's a podcast where I still don't understand the science.
With
He does.
on Danny Jones. Yeah, Danny Jones
I
podcast.
think
He
that
did an
might be it.
episode.
This is it.
This is
Yeah. Did you
it's
watch
great.
this?
I
Oh my
watched up
gosh,
to about 35 minutes.
Oh,
and
dude,
Randall's
it gets so good. Holy
But
shit.
the problem of this
I need to
is
watch
that
it again.
Randall,
I need to watch it like 4 times because
yeah,
and you know what? Interesting. Look what he's got on the screen right there. A
and
Taurus.
I'm trying to got a bit of loading screen.
What does that
And
look
he's
like
talking
to you?
about how for sure Tauruses. He said what they do is they have these spheres and then they compress the spheres from the top and the bottom to pinch the middle of them together and they create the Taurus that way. And then that's the most natural path for electrons. I think it's electrons that are moving around in there. But he said he admits a few times in this podcast he doesn't know the science, and other people have claimed this is not real,
right.
that it's unfounded. I don't know. I haven't had one in my hands yet, but you know, new stuff comes out quite frequently, and like
True.
if they're using fast moving energy to dissipate chemicals, that's not that far out of the realm of possibility. The thunderstorm generator, that's what it's called.
Thunderstorm generator, yeah. He's saying India is dumping lots of money to try to do this because they're poised to basically take over China as like the world's manufacturers, because China's got some serious issues with population right now, where most of their population's old and they don't have the new generation to take over, so there's a collapse coming. And
in China,
basically, yeah.
This is it. It's Malcolm Bendel is the guy who.
Malcolm Bendel. Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that say it's fake, but there's a YouTuber, I forget her name. She's Australian. She actually does her own. After this came out, she was like, I wanted to find this out. I'm gonna find it and send it to you because it's pretty cool. She actually finds someone who made the engine. Right, they connected it. What is an engine? It's like an addition to an engine, where it goes off the exhaust and takes the exhaust and then uses this to basically nullify all of the CO2, and it's pretty amazing.
I'm a huge fan of plasmoids in general. Here's if anyone wants to know a little bit. So I've got pulled up is a quick description. The person explaining says that they pre-ionize the air, which is a big part of it, and then they send it into a diffuser bubbler with tap water, and then the bubbles cavitate, which is where the top and the bottom collapse on themselves and create little toroids. And they say it creates mini plasmoids. A plasmoid, for reference, here I'm going to pull up a picture of it. These things are pretty cool. I did a funny show on the plasmoid because when I saw this picture, I was like, "What in the fuck is this shit, dude? It looks like an ant." Like this is our universe. This is the sun. This is the earth. This is where like the sun is over on this side of the screen, and it would be sending its magnetic, these sun, whatever it's called, the magnetic, solar. Okay. And then it's interfering with the earth's magnetic field and causing this disruptive shape.
Right.
And within this disruption, it over here right in the gonads of the disruption is the plasmoid.
It looks like it's right in the Lagrange point. Right in between the moon. Is the moon on the right, that black? No, that's
I don't know.
Arrow. Okay.
I think this is more of just of a general interference pattern caused by celestial body magnetic fields.
Yeah.
And it truly looks like an animal. Like this looks like a jellyfish or something, and this is right in the nuts, like right in the where the asshole would be.
I mean, more the G spot. I mean,
Yeah, right in the G spot. This is the G spot of Earth's magnetic field.
And no wonder we haven't found it yet. I mean,
oh wow, I wonder what happens if you go to this spot and just hang out there.
Just your pineal gland starts glowing, and
dude,
I want to go in one.
I was talking with Corin Nemec the other day, and he said that the pyramids were used, stargates, how like the ancient cultures would like draw circles in the earth and they would stand on them to project their consciousness more readily. But he was saying that the pyramids were for that they found residue in some of these sarcophagi in like the king's chamber, things of like heavy water, and that they would like, according to him, he considered that they would salt the water, go in there like sensory deprivation, and the whole pyramid would vibrate, and they'd have these wild, like these like what is that called? Where you're sending your consciousness out across the universe.
Astral projection.
Yeah, these intense astral projections.
Yeah,
and that all clicked as soon as you started saying that. I was like,
have you ever seen the Pyramid Code?
No, part of it. It's with
part of it.
Yeah, what's that guy's name? There's a few.
Nawaz? No.
Yeah, not Majid.
I don't remember his name.
Although that'd be cool if Majid Nawaz. It's John. I don't know. There's a couple dudes that Joe Rogan's had on his show a few times.
Yeah,
the Pyramid Code. Have you seen it?
In that. Many times. I want to own it because it's freaking awesome. It used to be on Netflix where I watched it a bunch, and then they took it off. But in there, this Egyptian historian, and I should know his name. It bugs me that it's not. Ben from Uncharted X actually goes on tour in Egypt with the guy's son, who was in the Pyramid Code. But it's this Egyptian historian who talks about how the pyramids were not tombs at all. They were for healing and vibration, because he's not talking about the Great Pyramids. There's a lot of pyramids in Egypt, and he's talking about how a lot of these pyramids, you would go to the I would say doctors, but whatever, the people who the keepers of the pyramids. They're like, oh yeah, I've got this, like my heart is hurting. They're like, oh, okay, go lay in this pyramid for a day, right? And it'll vibrate and it'll heal your heart issue, or this your bones issue, or your brain is hurting. And I always found that really interesting. But the Great Pyramids themselves, I think that it's some sort of electrical device that we don't understand what it is. But if it is for astral projection, and you need to be, because like it's magnetic energy, right? I mean, or electrical energy, and we're charged beings too. Like what if it charges up to become like an antenna for your mind, right? If you get in those sarcophagi and it gets all charged up, and like boom, all of a sudden you can access, I don't know, we talked about quantum entanglement. What if that sarcophagus, or the astral projection is just like a portion of that. Like you could tap into anything anywhere. Who knows? I don't know.
Probably. If you can slow down your frontal lobe, and if you can, I was desperately trying to find the guy's name that you're talking about. I know who you're talking about. He's like a keeper of knowledge, an Egyptian knowledge keeper.
Yeah.
And I have it all saved on my desktop at home. He has a son, and I think his son's sister-in-law also. They run tours in Egypt where you can actually.
Yes,
it's Hakim Awian, I believe is his name.
That's it. Yeah,
Hakim Awian. And his father, I think Hakim was the original knowledge keeper. Let me pull this guy up. He's super cool. He is in the Pyramid Code. He's one of the main.
Dude, he's so awesome. I love the guy's energy, and he's sadly not around anymore. But that's him. Yeah, this guy. Yeah, he was my favorite character in this show. He's awesome. And then and I've talked to Ben. He's been on the show with us, and he wants us to go with him to Egypt and like hang out with Ben and this guy's son, which would be just amazing, because I love this guy, and he talks about Egypt.
I've also been asked to go do that. I think we should do it.
We should do it. Hell yeah.
That sounds great. I'm considering doing an ayahuasca ceremony before in South America, and then
really
doing a large round.
Have you done that?
Yeah.
Before?
No, I've tasted it. I sipped on it
Okay.
when I was in Peru, and it tasted like really bitter grass. And then I
Okay.
felt the DMT. I was like, "Ooh, I can see where this is going." And I
Yeah.
felt really good, really clear and pure for a moment, for about 15 minutes after that.
Okay, but you didn't go on a journey.
No, not yet.
Okay.
That's gonna be great. Same with
I am
DMT. You ever
interested
smoke?
too.
Have you
No,
smoked
I
DMT
haven't.
or? Yeah,
No.
I puffed on it. I was talking about this last night, and
Like, what does that mean? What do you mean you puffed on DMT? I didn't know that that's a possibility that you could do that.
yeah, I went to this guy's house in LA, and he was like growing all this algae. He had these huge tanks of algae where there's all this green bubbling liquid, and they were like, "All right, Ian, here you go. You're supposed to take a huge hit and hold it in as long as you can." I'm like, "All right, well, I do things my way." Is what I was thinking. Is like, I do things the way I want to do them, so I'm gonna just check it out. I'm gonna puff on it, take a little bit, and then breathe it out, rather than hold a bunch in for as long as I can.
Yeah.
Like, I go at my own pace. So I just puffed
Yeah.
on it, blew it out, and then I saw the dude across from me. He was sitting in the chair, and I just saw his skin being sucked down to earth. And I was like, "Oh, it's been happening. We're being sucked down right now, but we're so desensitized to it because that's all we see. That it just looks normal." But like, I saw what
Yeah.
he would have looked like without gravity for a moment, and he looked. I was like, "That's a gray alien. Like he would have a big, wide, expanding head with big eyes, and I could see gravity like pulling his chest down." And it kind of opened up my perception away from Earth's gravity.
It's interesting when you just said that right now, and we've been doing. Well, I specifically have been doing a lot of research into elongated skulls. You know anything about them?
I've seen pictures of like people with these long
Well,
heads.
it's interesting too because there's a lot of them in Peru, and that's kind of like one of the hot spots of where these elongated skulls are from. And I'm not talking to like the paddle boarding where they would do that to babies to elongate the skull for whatever reason, almost like they're trying to emulate something else, some maybe higher being of some sort, or um, maybe I think they exist. I'm kind of convinced now. I mean, Brian Forrester, he has a YouTube channel. He goes into ancient everything, but he's kind of like at the forefront of these elongated skulls. Really interesting if you want to check it out more. He's got a great channel for looking up that kind of stuff. But seeing these skulls and how they've just kind of disappeared from, like, we don't have elongated skulls. We kind of have our shaped skull, right? That we've come to know. But what you just said about gravity on Earth is pulling us down, and as like it's turning us into an Earth-based humanoid, right? I mean, if these beings came from somewhere else and they are humanoid and they came here and they had these elongated skulls, um, look up, do elongated skulls Paracas. It's like
Caracas.
P-A-C
Oh, PA.
P with P-A
Oh, with a C.
Paracas.
Here we go.
P-A-R.
Paracas.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, there it is.
Pull up
Yeah,
some
look at
images of
these.
this. What are
This
these?
is so these are the ones I was talking about. Red hair. There are a lot of them are redheaded for some reason. Which that in itself is very interesting, right? Because a redheaded gene is rare in humans. So like this thing on the right, like I don't think that's real, but this one with the hair in the middle, like that's one of them, and it's weird. And they've done like DNA studies, and they found that the mother is human, but the father, they don't know what it is. It's not human, and that's weird.
Oh, what?
I found that really weird.
They've got the Denisovans, all these ancient hominids that weren't Homo sapien, like obviously the Neanderthals, the Homo
Yeah.
florensis, which were the smaller people. I wonder if they bred with like a super large person. The only thing that I wonder is, did they have space travel? How could they survive the gravity, the vacuum of space? And then I'm thinking in
Right.
Atlantis, did they have like nuclear power? Because uranium,
I
I
don't
mean, you
think it
dig
was
up uranium.
nuclear. No, I don't think so. I think that they understood frequency. Like Tesla said, like if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, you have to look at it through frequency and, and and the energy and frequency. And if you understand that, you can unlock the secrets of the universe. I think that like do you know about the Younger Dryas?
Yeah, this
12,000
is
years ago?
12,800 years ago. There was a cometary
Correct.
impact. Yeah, that caused a global
Well,
flood.
that's one of one theory, right? That's something that Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson putting forward. I don't know if I necessarily I don't know if that's so there's so many different theories that all are actually rather sound. There's also the micronova where the sun actually it doesn't go supernova. There's a micronova event because of the waves of oh man, how do I explain this? So the Milky Way, that's our our galaxy. From the center of our galaxy, there's waves of electrical, just electrical waves coming from the center. And as they get further and further out, they get smaller and smaller and smaller, but not in height. They get smaller and smaller, like closer and closer together. Like the frequency gets uh more and more. It's like they're turning the frequency dial up, and it affects us, and it affects our sun mostly, and the sun will be affected by this, and um, the Earth will be affected by this, everything, and it's related to like the poles shifting, and the poles have been shifting more and more, and so the micronova event it's an interesting theory that it happens every 12,000 years, 11,000 years. Yes, this guy is like on the forefront of it. And yeah,
Yes,
he was
Ben
on
Davidson.
Jimmy. Yeah, he was on Jimmy's channel, Bright Insight. And they did an interview and talked about it. And I've been following this guy for a while. He's very, very interesting theory. And it could be true. I don't know.
My guess is
Um,
that that it was all correlative, that there was a micronova that
right.
caused the sun and the Earth's magnetic field to disorient. And also that, the torrid meteor stream is this meteor stream that we pass through twice a year, every
Twice a
year.
year. Yep.
But
Hmm.
then I think Jimmy was mentioning this, Jimmy Corsetti, Bright Insight, that there's areas of the torrid meteor stream that are very dense, like lots of meteors are packed together in certain areas. And those are the areas where it's very dangerous to pass through. And then I
Yeah.
thought, well, if there's a lot of metal in these comets, asteroids, meteors, then maybe they have magnetic fields. And when the big dense magnetic when the groups of them come through, it causes interference in the sun and the Earth's magnetic field, and maybe even the galactic field is connected, because electricity will spark through lots of stuff if there's like
Oh yeah.
high conductivity, and that as those big dense packets of meteors come near, that they cause the Earth's magnetic field just to drop. And maybe the Atlanteans were working on some technology that was also they were getting power out of Earth by vibrating its core or vibrating the system, and that caused another malfunction. um but then I'm like, okay, well, what we got to do, if that's possible, and if that is the case, we need to get up there into the torrid meteor stream and spread these things out so that we don't have any more dense pockets of meteors.
Right.
And we've got, I don't know, another 400 years to get it done or something. I don't know when how often we pass through these dense packets. I just don't
Well,
know if it was like all came from one source, or if it all happened together, or what.
I think that's actually an interesting idea, because what if our what if the micronova happened and it did cause that disruption in the electrical the the our defense mechanism, essentially, because that's the magnet that is Earth protects us against the electromagnetic waves from the sun, um, and maybe that was all disrupted and it attracted some of the asteroids that might not have actually hit Earth. So then it all kind of happened. The micronova happened. The pole shift happened. So Earth tilted, changed its everything, and then we got hit by some meteors. And there is theories that it hit multiple places, not just in the North American ice sheet, which then melted a shit ton of that ice and then raised the oceans 400 feet, which is insane to think about, because humans live on the coastal ways, um, and that would be decimating the population of the planet. But imagine you're an ancient civilization. Well, we won't even do that. Imagine you're just a civilization. You're understanding frequencies. You're able to make a craft that you can go up into space, and all of a sudden the sun goes micronova, and your all of the electronics on the planet stop working, and you know that the turrets are coming in and you're going to hit something. Like, what do you do in that situation? Like, what do you do?
If we knew the Torrids were, if there was I would say
Yeah,
we'd
you have
need to send up.
5 months. You have 2 months. All right. The whole planet's going to reset in 2 months. We're going to get hit, and every single city on the planet is going to be underwater. Not to even mention the isostatic depression, which is what Randall Carlson talks about, how all that weight. Go over North America right now. We'll
I
get
love
to
this map.
Mauritania. I know. So imagine the entire zoom all the way out so we could see all of North America. So imagine like most of Canada is covered in ice, right? Like all of that, just one big massive ice block. That's a lot of weight. Like just maybe a billions of tons of ice, and all of that just instantly melts. Now the weight of that being holding because we're on a mantle, right? Or the Earth it's a bunch of different plates on a molten core. So all that weight suddenly comes off. When you're sitting on a chair, when you get up, it's like that. It goes up, right? It's got that that's called isostatic depression. So if you look at like a big huge ring of all outside, if this whole area is going to go up, then there's going to be some that go in, right? So the Azores, if you look on the right side here, that right in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, there's that like strip of, it looks like
This here?
lighter. Yeah, so the Azores is right
Yeah.
in the middle, that little blob, right? So
This area here.
well, that's more like the islands that are on like the right side of that. Yeah, just Azores. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, it goes all around. Cool.
Right. So it's this island
Azores.
chain. So
Oh, right
Randall
on. Okay, yeah,
suggests,
right there.
yeah, so you can see like this whole little zone. So
Wow.
he's thinking that because of the isostatic depression, that this is where Atlantis was, and it sucked it down. That because the story goes, Atlantis was lost. It sank. It was swept under the ocean, and um, he's thinking that like if we want to like find Atlantis, we got to be looking at like 2 miles under the water here, not just like the peaks, because this would have been at like the peaks of whatever Atlantis was. I don't know,
Oh, wow.
continent.
This might have been a continent. This might have been an island here.
Right.
This whole
So that's
area.
what Randall was saying. Like because of that weight shift, it pulled it down, and then of course 400 feet of water on the entire ocean from all the ice melting. So I find that very interesting. I know Jimmy talks about the Richat structure in Mauritania right here. Yeah. This is an enigma in itself, like the Eye of the Sahara. It's amazing, and there is a lot of there's a lot of evidence to show that there was a shit ton of water that swept through here. There's chevrons, and you could see it. Look at that, just
Yes,
water. There's
especially
a deluge.
what I really love doing is I wish I could bounce back and forth between these two maps, is get a topographical map so you can see the height difference of what we're looking at right now. Because when you see how deep the area around the Ricat structure is, you realize it's ocean. It was ocean before. And this Ricat structure, it looks like, my guess is that it was like an underwater geyser that didn't erupt properly and caused ripples. There's one on Mars. Did you see Jimmy's? We're talking about Jimmy like he's a saint, which he is. There's also one of these on Mars. So like it tried to erupt. It just caused ripples and then caused this huge plate to rise up. This is actually higher up than this area up here and this area down here. This is the highest point, which is, it looks a little, I thought this was lower at first, but wait, let me double check.
Mountains.
Let me double check all that. I bought this new laptop and it's fucking lagging out of the box. How is that possible? I literally opened it and it was lagging. I'm like, what? I just spent, $1,600 on this freaking thing and it was lagging out of the box. How does that work? Highly annoying. So let me do this. It does, Adam. It fucking sucks. No, I'm just kidding. It's pretty cool. It's still a really nice laptop. It's a Lenovo. Send me your number and what the fuck. So I'm going to share.
Well, at least you
Stop
could do
sharing
this, while you're traveling,
it,
which is
dude.
cool.
I was thinking about this miraculous technology. This technology that we have is, I mean, totally and completely miraculous in so many ways. This is
Grand Canyon. Wait, what?
Wait a minute. Oh no, I think I searched on the Grand Canyon and then so this is
Oh,
a
and then
what
you
we
just
got
went
here?
over to Mauritania.
Yeah,
Okay.
you got all these different. Here's a good one. This is satellite look at Mauritania, and then I can put the topograph on top, so you get the color. The
Yeah,
red is
cool.
very high up. This is the
Okay.
depressive area around it. The rings, they're high up.
Oh wow,
And then
it's really just a ridge all around it. You didn't really
yeah.
notice.
So here, if you zoom out, you get a good look. They call it the eye of the Sahara. This looks like a fucking cat, dude. Like this is the mouth. This is
Yeah,
the
I see it.
chin with like
Oh yeah.
a little chin beard. Here's the eye. The white is the highest
It's me.
part.
It's
So
me. I got.
yeah,
What do you think? You like my beard?
I really like your beard. I didn't tell you when I first saw you. It's nice, dude.
This is the
Full
biggest
lumberjack.
beard I've ever had.
Dude, do
I'm
you
proud
chop
of it.
wood?
I do.
That's so hardcore.
I did. I chopped wood today.
That's
actually.
so nice.
I
would
got
love to
4
see
fireplaces in my house.
that. Oh, rock and roll.
My house is from 1850, so the heat of this house is fireplaces.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah,
dude,
so
check
I
this
gotta
out.
chop wood.
So all
Anyway,
this
continue.
was purportedly this was down in the ocean before everything. Before this was all underwater. Apparently, this was all underwater. There's river, maybe not all of it, but this was like ocean. And to the north, I think this ridge here, to the above the eye, protected the eye from getting blasted and covered by sand when all this sand came rushing in from the west, from the Atlantic, and it smeared the north of the eye and the south of the eye. It covered up, like you can see ancient rivers here, especially with the topography. You can see how the depressive, these ancient rivers that are now buried in sand were probably feeding to the south of. I'm just going to call this the capital of Atlantis, just because the way Plato described it 3,000, 2,000 years ago, they said it was a 3-ringed city and around this area of the world. But I do believe that Atlantis was a huge global civilization, and Randall's probably talking about another island that was colonized by Atlantis. But unless he can show me another ringed area that has been buried by sand, I'm going to say this is Atlantis, or was the capital.
You believe it? That's Atlantis there, the city of Atlantis?
So yeah, I'm about convinced. And then you go west along the ridge, like all these ancient riverways that were here's another one feeding into this thing here. This looks man-made, dug out, maybe like they dug a canal out. And then I guess this is.
Did you watch Jimmy's interview with the guy that went there?
Yes, David Stig Hansen. He actually came on and was chatting on the show with Andreas a couple days ago. He's been here twice. Absolutely fascinating guy. Like it takes a special kind of human to do that. And then I'm like, I go over to the west and I'm like, ooh, this is like bougie area to live up here in the Highlands. If you were part of the Atlantis elite to the west, all these cool. And then it looks like not only did they dig it out, they had water coming through here, but then did they block it off right here so that the water didn't flow down to the ocean? Because up north of here, I wish there was no lag. I really wish there's no lag. This was all ocean or waterways. They dug this channel in here, and then they had like rivers, the river that came up to the highlands up here, and then it would get to what a cool place to live right here until it got buried with sand, obviously. This one down here. But what I really, really love is, so you come down this channel from the North Atlantic Ocean. And by the way, they named the Atlantic Ocean after Atlantis. So yeah, Atlantis was real.
Right.
You come through this channel here that has been buried, of course, but this river here, up here through this, to this spot where they were like, yo, let's dig this channel right here. So they come in and they dig to the north, and they meet up with this river here, which is now obviously covered in sand, but this was an ancient riverway right here. And then, so when you pull out and look at what's happening, this is going up the mountain. This goes from the base of the water where they would sail in, they'd go over here, and then they take this channel up. I don't know if they had ancient trolley cars or if they had like rope paths that they would climb the mountain with, but this would take them to the top. It looks like they met up with a river path all the way to the top of the plateau. And this is how they'd get to the plateau that Atlantis is on. And this is like the nose of the Sahara, the nose of Atlantis right here.
Yeah.
And then from there, they'd have access to the plateau. I mean, it is just so humanly dug, this thing. It is so badass. I want to go right here. Look at
It's
this.
really straight.
Where they dug in, like right here. I'm going to pull the topography off for a moment. So this is where they dug like this channel here. The river would go like this and then it arced to the west, but then they dug. Let me see if I can pull the Google map up to get a little. It's really great to have them both together. Yeah, here, I'll pull up the Google map because I can zoom in a little bit more. Interestingly enough, this is like one of my favorite things on Earth to do right now. Here, this is just what we were looking at, where they dug the channel here to meet up with the ancient river here that flowed to the west. But right here, when you zoom in, dude, I want to go here. I want to see this, what digs up right here where they connected the channel to the ancient river to the north. And then they hop on and they start trailing the river the rest of the way up the mountain. Here, it looks all this erosion here from God knows what kind of striation. And then here, like, this is human crafted right here, this straight line. And that you go all the way up to the tip, and now you're on the plateau up here. And then from here, you can get to Atlantis to the east. There's more too. I spend like hours just looking at these maps. What is this?
Hello. Boobs.
Man, look at all these ancient waterways. Oh, God. I want to go there. It's so cool to see the stuff that looks like the humans dug it out. Man, all these just whipping east-west it's called striations. These just tears across the land and all this smeared
Randall
sand.
Carlson actually has a map of this exact spot. And if you go out into the ocean, right off the coast here, there's actually a landslide that goes out like 200 miles.
I'll pull up the topography and get a look at it.
Yeah, actually, maybe the topography will show it. Because it's exactly the same path. Those striations just continue out into the ocean. Like, there's just so much land that was pulled into the ocean.
Look, this deep basin that's now filled with salt. Like, this is like, for some reason, it just deposited all this white salt right here when it came up onto the coast. So right here, I see what you're talking about. Will it go?
Yeah,
I think it.
I don't know what map he showed. There's a. Oh man, I've seen so many. I have no idea where he showed this map, but in one of the many lectures of Randall Carlson's that I've listened to, he showed this basically there's this massive land slide out in the ocean that just clearly came from the West Africa there. It's really interesting.
It doesn't get that. Looks like the topography kind of fails when you start to look under the water.
Yeah.
And also, whenever I look at the maps here, I'll pull up the Google map one more time. Whenever I look at this giant map, I see like the really light blue water, and that's what I believe was above was part land before the flood. Like this, all this really light stuff was probably.
Yeah.
I could be wrong about that.
Well, yeah.
And all this was probably above
400
water.
feet. Take 400 feet. Well, that was probably all under ice, but you take 400 feet down around all of. There's maps too. I could probably dig it up on our Discord, discussing it, and it shows like if you take 400 feet of water away from the ocean, all of the land looks totally different.
Oh man.
England is just like one massive. I don't remember the name of.
Oh yeah, England was connected to all of it. Yeah, it looks like this was all connected.
Yeah, look at this. So like all of that was just land. None. It wasn't like an island. That was all just one big huge thing. And then over in like the Indus Valley, like look south of Thailand, like all of that was all just
that huge.
Well, I think that was mostly ice. The stuff.
These
on
the Lemurians, the ancient Mu people,
all down here. Yeah. And then like Australia,
New
Zealand.
Yeah.
And then east of New Zealand, there's that like see north of and around New Zealand, like dude, New Zealand is basically like one little tiny strip of mountain range of this massive continent that was there.
It was the surviving top of the continent. Everything else got flooded.
Yeah, look at that. Like it's pretty massive, actually. All gone.
The reason I take to the expanding Earth theory. Have you followed that much?
Do you take to
that the
that?
Earth is twisting open and
I
growing.
know about it,
Yeah,
but I wouldn't
they're
say.
mostly because of these what I think are stretch marks. When I look under the
Hmm.
water, thank God for satellites. What an advancement. And I see all these
Yeah.
rips and tear. This just like looks like the Earth is just tearing itself open. Like if you take a piece of rubber and you
Are
pull
those
it apart real
actual
fast.
images of the s- ocean floor? Like those
Yeah,
lines, those scratches? Really?
yeah.
Huh.
What the fuck? They call them valleys, like underwater trenches. But I mean, it just looks like the Earth is ripping itself open, being torn apart, and especially like certain area, like the Pacific, is really getting ripped open fast.
Huh.
The hell is this? Mad chaos.
What do you think's causing that?
Um, the natural expansion, probably the speed that we're moving through the universe is causing
Mm-hmm.
heat, which is causing expansion, and why that's why the sun is expanding, and why I think all celestial bodies are. I don't know if there's guaranteed scientific evidence that all celestial bodies are expanding, but I
Hmm.
think that's why. It's because we're moving so fast, and the bigger we get, the faster we would move. That would make sense to, I think. So then that would mean we're accelerating through the universe, but then maybe we're accelerating because we're on that bend, and then when we come around, we'll slow back down into the crunch. Then we accelerate out again, and then slow back down into the crunch or something.
Oh yeah,
But
the Taurus.
you might be able to control the sun's expansion if you fill it with hydrogen, because they said it's like losing hydrogen, and that's why it's expanding. So if you pump it with like an electro laser and fuel it, you might be able to maintain its. But I don't know if that'll throw stuff out of
I mean,
balance.
we got a few like a billion years or something, right? Until we have to worry about that.
Yeah, we do actually. Although I wonder what time is when it comes to the magnificence
Yeah.
of this reality. Speaking of time, it's about 4:06. We just went for an hour,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, how
Oh,
long do you normally do your show for?
it's normally 1 hour, arbitrarily set. Oh, we've got a few super chats I'm going to read. This one's from
Cool.
Darth Call. Good
Hey,
to see
what's up,
two
Call?
G's. Yeah, dude, what's up? Good to see two G's coming together for a good conversation. Cheers, Ian and Adam. Ian on Based AF when? What is Based
Anytime you
AF?
want, man. That's
Tell me about it.
my show on Monday. I've been doing for I don't know, shit, a year and a half now.
Oh, do you do different
So
name shows on different days?
just Monday, well, and Tuesday, I guess Tuesday Titans. Although, man, I got to be honest, I basically just taken a break from doing my show this past week, and I miss the sunshine, man. Being this far north, the sun just kind of disappears, and my sleep because my show is at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, right? And since I moved to Sweden, which I'm 6 hours ahead, it's midnight or 12:30 to like 2, 3 a.m. sometimes. Um, so like I've been up at night, and it's just it's wearing on me, dude. I'm missing the sun. I'm missing like going to sleep with my wife. Well, Nisha, you know Nish, so
Shout out
it's
to
like
Nisha.
for the past week, I've been going to sleep at like 10 p.m. and waking up. I've been waking up at like 4 a.m. But I'm like, I get up and I'm like, I've been dreaming again. Like I don't remember dreaming as much as I have in in the past 10, 15 years. Like I haven't dreamt very well. But like this past week, I've had so many dreams. It's like freaking me out actually. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, why am I dreaming so much? Like, this is insane. And what's changed is like, I'm just going to sleep at night and waking up in the morning, you know?
It's so important. I was actually doing this show at 3. I'm only doing it at 3 today because Eastern, because Luke was shooting at 1. So we had to the kind of I pushed it back so I wasn't yelling while he was recording.
Oh, yeah.
But I
Okay.
moved it to 1 in the afternoon because I like getting up early, kind of early. It's 1 p.m. in the
Dude,
afternoon, but
I need it.
and having an afternoon. Have you considered moving your shows north? Moving them 6 hours ahead
Definitely.
for Eastern, 1 p.m. Eastern or something, 2 p.m. Eastern?
Yeah. Yeah, I've thought about it. I mean, a lot of people in my chat are like, "We'll follow you." And I'm like, "That's freaking awesome." Like I was doing it because I was trying to be my crowd, They follow me at 6:30 Eastern time. I've been doing it for 3 years consistently, 6:30, 6 boom, 6:30. That's when I do my show, which is 12:30 this time. And um so yeah, I'm definitely gonna I'm just for now, I'm just taking a break from my show and I'm just getting
For,
my sleep back.
It's
You know,
so good. It's like getting
I
traction. If
need
a
it.
wheel spins too fast and it touches down, it'll just skid. You need to it slows down so they can get traction, and then you can speed up. For
Exactly.
the record, I'm down to come on Base AF anytime. You give me a little heads up, especially
Awesome.
the Sunday show sounds really cool when you guys
Forbidden
go
Frontier.
crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, that's my jam.
Yeah,
Dude, that'd be wild.
that's my favorite.
Oh, Darth Call's got a World of Warcraft fan apparently. Love the Ironforge reference for the Alliance. LOL.
Wait, it might be Warhammer. I know he's actually. You know what? It could be World of Warcraft. He plays both.
Oh, it's definitely this is World of
is
Warcraft.
it World of
Yeah,
Warcraft? Okay.
I've spent many hours in Ironforge at the auction house, running back and forward from the bank.
Okay.
Ironforge is the dwarven capital. It's in what area of the world is that in? Darth, you might remember.
No idea. But if he's still here, he probably
Did you not play Warcraft?
never did. No. Well, Warcraft 1 and
Really?
Warcraft 2.
But not WoW, World of Warcraft?
No, never played WoW, no.
Interesting. Hey, Bug HQ. Ian and Adam back again. I love it. Thank you both for your shows. Ian, you've actually got me looking at this flash graphene idea for all my cricket waste. 35 tons a year.
Wow.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, flash graphene. I interviewed the scientist that conceived the concept of flash joule heating, where they take carbon of any kind, literally is what I'm told, any kind of carbon, and you put it in like a tube, and then you hit it with electricity, and you shock it at like 7,000 degrees. You pulse it over like 10 milliseconds, and it comes out with black powder graphene. It's a bulk graphene. There's two kinds of graphene. There's like graphene sheets that you can use for electronics, and then there's bulk graphene, where it's like this turbostratic. It comes in these like little wafer. They like plop on top of itself in little mini wafers, like very small wafers of graphene. And they're doing it at Rice University. I was very fortunate to interview Dewey Long, the scientist that came up with it. Awesome, dude, man. Bug HQ, if you end up going through with that, let me know. I'd love to see some progress with turning cricket waste into graphene, because that is the future of waste reproduction.
Call says it's in Eastern Kingdom, he thinks.
It's in the Eastern Kingdom. I'm wondering what the zone is. The mountain region. I'll remember as soon as we end, unless you type it in first. Fuad Torres says, "Hey Adam, have you ever read the book Decoding the Hive? It talks about how gods, parentheses, we are gods as well, and having thoughts which become sparks. These sparks cause all things to be. We manifest by thoughts." Have you read the book?
I haven't read the book, but it sounds like something I would really enjoy.
Decoding the Hive.
I mean, I think there's something to be said about belief, manifesting belief, like, you know, putting the energy into the universe, and the universe will provide. I know that's like some hippie sounding shit, but like, I think there's something to that. I think manifesting and like belief is such an important thing. Like when doctors say, "Oh, you have 6 months to live," if someone believes that, then they're gonna die in 6 months. But if you don't believe it and you're like, "No, I'm gonna live," like there's stories about this where people have like come through and be like, "No, I don't believe that. I believe I'm gonna live," and they beat whatever ailment that they were dealing with. I don't know. I think belief is a really important thing.
Yeah, I think we're at the stage of science where we look at like placebo effect and the belief affecting reality. And it's kind of like how they used to thousands of years ago look up at the stars, and they'd be like, "Those are animals," or they'd be like, "Those are things." Like they knew the star, they knew the things were there. They just didn't know what they were. And that's kind of where we're at with manifesting reality. We know it's something to it, but we haven't been able to develop the tools yet to be like, they are binary stars. That is a plasmoid. That is a, et cetera. Maybe.
Yeah.
What else is it? The Shagsworth. Great
What's up,
name,
Shags?
dude. Good to see you guys chatting. Big fan, Ian. Enjoy the conversation today. Adam, my beard is better. Smiling. Okay. Oh, he's winking actually at you.
That's interesting that you are the one who's trying to be competitive with it. I don't give a shit about your beard, dog. I'm
before the record.
My beard.
Right. Shagsworth's got some nasty threads coming out of your chin. I mean, nasty in a good way, dude. That beard is fire, dog.
He's got a big beard. It's true.
Hank the Hawkage. Is it Hank the Hokage or Hawkage Hill? I like it. This is legendary duo. This is the legendary duo we've missed for so long, and duos capitalized. Yeah, I agree. I think we flow seamlessly.
Cosmic Garth.
Yes, dude. Whoa! Back at it again.
Whoa!
Whoa! Whoa! This is so
Dude.
good, man.
We got to do this more often, man. I miss you. I miss hanging out.
I
with you,
agree.
dude.
Let's organize something. I'll come on one of your shows coming up.
I love it. I love it.
You let me know when. For everyone watching, Adam Crigler, the man, follow his work all over the place, anywhere on the internet, man. You know him, you find him, and follow me, subscribe to the channel, like the video. You know where it's at. I'm actually about to go bounce in with Clint Russell, I believe, on Liberty Lockpod.
Oh,
on
he's
Rumble
awesome
here.
dude.
Yeah, we're about to talk to this guy. Damn it, I wish I had his name. I should memorize his name. Have you heard about this Malaysian flight that disappeared?
Oh yeah.
And now there's new data.
Yeah.
And this guy is at
the
Austin's
things flying around it.
Yeah,
well,
there's
I
like
don't
three.
know. I don't know if I believe. I've seen the footage. I don't know if I believe the footage, but who knows? It's a weird freaking situation.
Yeah,
we'll probably talk about it on Sunday eventually.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I kind of take the belief that like it's more likely that videos were doctored. The guy's name that has been doing a lot of the research is it Austin something? Austin? Oh, I would love to get his name right now. I should have had it pulled up. Let me see if I can pull it really quick. But anyway, I think it's more likely that the video has been doctored than that a airplane went through a wormhole. But that doesn't mean it's impossible and that some weird new technology isn't being deployed or implemented. Apparently, there are a bunch of semiconductor.
Have you seen the footage where it disappears?
Yeah, it like a big black hole.
Like a flash. Well, it's like a white puff, right? Or
yeah,
I don't know if that's the same footage that you saw, but
yeah, gosh, shout out to the dude working on it. Regardless, someone got a funny screenshot of my face. That's funny. Anyway, I don't have his name right here, and I apologize ahead of time, but I'm going to go over there. So go over to rumble.com, Liberty Lockpod. I think that's Liberty Lockdown. There it is. Yeah. All right, Adam. I'll tell him I said hi. You later, man. You got it.
All right, Ian.
Love you, man.
Great to talk.
See you later.
Love you,